Take two. How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to TableTakes. We have a very special episode today. We have a bunch of our board game tabletop news, as per the usual, and a very special returning guest for interview worthy. It's Little Red Dot, aka Chelsea, from Kobold Press, here to tell us all about what's happening with all of the developments in the tabletop role-playing game world. Let's see if Tater Pig is caught on yet, and if it's hit Kobold Press's table yet. We'll see. But first, let's join our lovely co-hosts today in talking about what happened this last week. All of our exciting personal news. Let's start with Bonsai. Hey, Bonsai baby, how have things been for you?
Very good. As you can see, I got extensions. I got my hair extended. Totally didn't just do a chop, chop, chop. But no, it's been real good. I have made discoveries in my yard, and I have now tried to grow herbs. I'm trying to grow herbs because I have discovered that I have a rosemary bush in my backyard. Tells you how much I actually go and poke around in my yard. So all those cool exciting things, and I like the pixie cut, and also I've been slowly redecorating. So I got some of
Ooh,
my old cosplay back on the wall, along with, you can't really see it, but it's like a whole like cute little dungeon poster of like little creatures fighting in a dungeon around a glowing D20 set.
What
So
happened to the Twitch side?
the Twitch sign is on below behind the table because I accidentally dropped it.
no.
But it's okay. I'll fix it. It's just temporarily put away until then. So redecorating, yay!
That sounds very exciting. I'm glad that things are happening over there with you, Bonsai. Let's check in with Peter. Hey, Peter, how have things been for you?
Great. I just gotta say, Bonsai, your hair looks so good. I was just well done. Well done. It's so good. Yeah, no, I'm doing well. This week was tax week, filed my taxes. That was a little stressful, but hey, got through that. I'm feeling better. I was ill last week, the week before. But this week has been great. I feel like my old self, so that's good. So just doing a lot of organizational work, getting ready for the D&D 50th anniversary series that we're going to do here on
Ooh.
Gen Con TV starting on May 11th. We're going to have a star-studded cast over 6 episodes. We got John Peterson, Luke Gygax, Monty Cook, Jonathan Twee, Rob Heinzu, Mike Merles, just all the people who designed that are still living the various editions of Dungeons and Dragons. It's going to be a lot of fun. So, but working on a lot of organizational stuff.
That's really cool. I can't wait to tune in for that. Sounds like some pretty exciting developments. Hey,
Yeah.
Noir, how about you?
Me, just the usual. Our friend's wedding is coming up, so I'm getting ready for that. In 2 weeks, the NFL draft is happening, so I'm gonna turn into the worst version of myself. Bears got the number one draft. Caleb Williams, generational quarterback. We're going to the Super Bowl this year, baby. It's happening.
That's
Um,
so cool.
but that's about it.
Okay, well, I have been involved with a lot of tax stuff as well as Peter. Um, mainly writing off all of my Kickstarter board game purchases. In particular, one just showed up. It's the Mini One deck. It's kind of hard to see, but basically, it's this cool deck of cards that can be used to play a variety of games, not just the games you can play with your average deck of playing cards. So you can play, well, I mean, regular playing cards, sure, but they've also got like a lot of designs on them as well. I'm trying to not break this thing, trying to get it open. My hands are so sweaty. So as you can see, it's got some designs on it like these little poker chips, as well as some of them even have pips on them like dice, or even you could play dominoes or backgammon, or yeah, you see that knight there? That's also a chess piece. So you could play chess. It's one deck of cards that can play over like 7 different games, or you can buy multiple decks of them to play things like poker that use like poker chips and stuff like that. Or you can even use them as dice if you're like pretending you have dice or something like that for like playing backgammon, things like that. So it's really cool. I'm excited to actually get a chance to play through them when I'm traveling because it fits nice and safe in this little tuck box here. Well, that's enough about me and us. Let's talk about board games. That's what we're all really here for. Let's jump right into our headlines and let's get started with Noir. Take it away.
Well, hello, intrepid heroes. This is where you would all say hello if you
Hello?
watch. There you go. That's
Hello.
what's up.
Hello!
Dimension 20 will be bringing its unsleeping city fantasy to New York City at Madison Square Garden, to be exact. Dimension 20 at the Garden will be a live show featuring Brennan Lee Mulligan and the cast of the Unsleeping City campaign, Emily Axford, Ali Beardsley, Brian Murphy, Zach Oyama, and Siobhan Thompson, and Luce Wilson. If you've never watched before, they produce a Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition actual play series that focuses on dramatic and humorous storytelling, professionally edited performances, and improv chops at its finest. The Unsleeping City imagines a version of New York City with a secret borough that is home to fey courts, magical beasts, and folkloric legends, from Santa Claus to the personification of the American dream to famous composer Stephen Sondheim. Sondheim. Almost had that one. Um, uh, they've begun their pre-release ticket sale, and tickets have been going rather quickly. There's been some mishaps with Ticketmaster creating some artificial scarcity and tickets going up in price to the tune of 2,000. Like Dropout has officially said, to keep your eye on Ticketmaster. More tickets will be dropping with a second pre-release as well as the general ticket sale. This is going to be one of the largest actual play live performances to date. I think this is a very good sign for the hobby in general. I can't wait to see if they continue touring with this. I can't imagine that this does well and they just stop at New York. Come to Chicago. Anyway, I think this is a very good sign for actual play. And it just shows that there is so much potential in this art form. So that's enough about what I think. What do the rest of you think? Hearing that th- people are paying to see folks play Dungeons and Dragons at Madison Square Garden.
I think that's just amazing. That's just so cool. I mean, hey, it's the expansion of our hobby, it's the growth of our tribe. It's more people playing games. I mean, who would have thunk? And what I love is that as our hobby has grown, especially over the last like 15 years, to become more and more media stuff, there's more ways for people to make money in tabletop gaming. And that's what I would like to see, as many people be able to work in our category and make money at it. So the fact that people are making money playing, that's great.
Oh yeah, I'm a big fan of Dropout, and so I'm already like, woo, yeah, I'm a big fan of Dimension 20, all that jazz, and I just like to hear that there's now like more than just one like let's play that like of role-playing games that people can get, like basically point to, be like, okay, so now there's Critical Role and there's Dimension 20. It makes it so it's easier for other boats to rise, all boats rise. And it's just, maybe this will be more and more of like a cool common thing, and sometimes you can have like your local bar have like their own let's plays happening with their own local folks. I think Seattle also had like a dragon play a while
So,
ago.
so I can tell you that group is actually touring. That's
Mm.
Drag and Dragons.
Ah,
They've come to Chicago a few times as well. They play smaller venues. I know for Chicago, they played a place called the Ravens Room, which is about a 700 capacity venue. But yeah, it's wild to think that there are touring Dungeons and Dragons groups.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Madison Square Garden is such a huge stage. I've seen like a bunch of comedy specials that happen there, and they get heckled all the time. So now immediately my mind turns to getting rules lawyered in real time from all directions anytime somebody gets a ruling
the
wrong.
spell doesn't work like that.
Exactly. So I'm
oh
just like, ooh,
no.
I really hope it goes well. And I love Dropout. I love Dimension 20. So I will definitely be watching it after it airs. Hopefully they put it on Roll20 as well. Oh, sorry, Dropout as well. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to another D&D related headline, or at least kinda. Peter, tell us more.
Yeah, this article is brought to us by Chase Carter at Dicebreaker. Toy and tabletop game giant Hasbro has announced its second annual Women Innovators of Play, which includes a suite of professional talks and programming alongside other competition to find the best unpublished board games designed by women in the tabletop industry. First launched in late 2003, the initiative, or 23, excuse me, the initiative claimed to promote a more inclusive and equitable toys and games community, encourage more women's participation in the space, inspire the next generation of young women and girls to unleash their creativity, and increase awareness and exposure to creative career paths. According to a press release, somewhat stymied by the public's declining trust and approval of Hasbro in the wake of the OGL debacle and 1,100 staff layoffs at the end of last year, the program still proposes some positive change worked within the corporate structure. Last year saw 3 winners take home $10,000 each and mentorship by women business leaders within Hasbro and other toy and game design companies. One of these 3, Ellie Dix, earned a full partnership that will see her game submission developed into a fully fledged title under Hasbro's tutelage. We still don't know anything about the design beyond the fact that it is a family weight card game. Perhaps because Hasbro is protecting the intellectual property of a game it might now contractually own or at least manage. Quote, "We are on a mission to attract more women and girls to the toy and game industry, and I could not be more inspired by the response to our Women Innovators of Play event and challenge," says Kim Boyd, Hasbro's president of Global Brands and Franchise Management.
Ooh,
Wow.
I'm excited about this just because it gets like more opportunities for folks to, actually get some help up and like independent creators as well.
Yeah, and
Absolutely.
and it's I mean this is great. I mean it's Hasbro's had some challenges on the PR front in the last year or so. It's good to see them doing something that will get them a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think there are some that will come at this skeptical, saying this is just a good PR. This is a move for good PR, but I think like, yeah, why is that a bad thing?
Right.
If you transgress, you should try to make recompense, and I think that's what this is. So, I think they still got. I think they still got a ways to go, but this is they're trending in the right direction, in my eyes with this. I can't wait to see what comes out of it.
Yeah, it's still a mystery, and I like the intrigue. I was like, okay, it's such a good game. It's getting published now and won this cool competition, but we don't get to know what it is. So we gotta like watch out and see what happens. Okay. All right, Bonsai, it's time. Tell us more about Disney Lorcana.
All righty, folks. Well, thank you to Milton Grip for giving us this news, along with Christian Hoffer at comicbooks.com. Sorry, Milton from ICV2. So after opening up ticket sales of the Lorcana's tournament event last month, both the U.S. event at Atlanta and in Atlanta, Georgia, and the EU event from Lille, France sold out within minutes. I think before we deep too into this, there's a conspiracy afoot. All right. Don't get me wrong. I love you, Lorcana. I've been getting the cards and stuff when I can get them. But this is, fool me once. All right. I get it. New release, Gen Con packed. I get it. Fool me twice. Oh, we can't get the card sales out. 3 times, though. 3 times is too many times to always be gosh darn sold out. I get it. You're like, oh, how are we supposed to know, Ravensburg? How are we supposed to know that we're selling out so quickly? One, I get it. You want to be cautious when selling out tickets to events and things, but it seems too much of artificial scarcity. All right, I get it. You're also trying to hook in the Disney folks as well, but it's just conspiracy in my case. There should be already. It's been what, 2 years since you've been coming out, and you're still, oh no, we're just not selling enough. Oh man, it's just coming off the shelves. I'm keeping my eye on you. This conspiracy going on. All right, I'm just saying. That's in my head. Conspiracy, very much. But yes, so in response to the high demand, Ravensburg is doubling the size of each event to, instead of 1,000, it's going to be 2,048 players. Now that they plan to double the event size, they're also going to be handling ticket sales a little bit differently. So instead of just being able to purchase tickets normally, you have to make an account and register as an actual player to go ahead and receive tickets and ticket sales for this, because there is suspicion of a little bit of bodying around, because when people see Disney and they saw that Lorcana is like selling like hotcakes, of course they're gonna send the bots and grab all the spots. So it's just a matter of see how everything's fall out. What about you all? Do you believe in my conspiracy, or is it just me talking crazy with my calendar on my head?
I just gotta say, I'm so glad that you weren't streaming back in 1994 when Magic was going crazy.
I gotta say, I'm just triggered seeing that they have a platform called Melee or Melee. I'm not sure how they're planning to pronounce it, but in my community, in my culture, we call it Melee. All right. And seeing it is just triggering all these different memories, all these flashbacks to when I used to play Super Smash Brothers.
I knew it. I knew it.
Just like the competitive nature of it all, and just getting sucked into all like the decision making in the meta. Don't talk to me. Don't talk to me about the meta. I can't imagine this happening till Disney Lorcana too. Goodness.
My only thoughts on this is I think you might be right, Bonsai, but I'm most curious to see what Lorcana is gonna do for Gen Con, because last Gen Con they had quite the appearance, let's say. So I hope now they understand the hunger that the hobby has for their product, and I hope that they prepare thusly. But we shall see.
It is so strange to just walk into a board game store, like a comic store now, and just see starter decks of Lorcana just available right there for you to pick up. Some booster packs, they're just sitting there. Considering that just less than a year ago, the scarcity, it was just insane.
The things we saw people go.
I mean,
It
just
was,
for the promos, I don't even know, just to get it early.
yeah.
Okay, it's Ursula's Revenge is going to be the next one, and I see chat saying more foils. I agree. I only have gotten one special foil card in all the deck, and I'm sorry. I'm just no, don't mind me.
Fun
Don't
fact.
mind me.
Fun fact: one of the exclusive cards from last year's Gen Con for Lorcana is on eBay, averaging around $280.
Ooh.
Okay,
not,
well,
not bad.
all right. Well, let's see if that changes anytime soon once these tournaments start going. All right, let's go ahead and roll into our next headline here. Some Disney princess related news, I'd say. This article comes to us from Milton Grebe of ICV2, and it's all about a new board game coming out called Rebel Princess. We covered this a little bit ago when it was on Kickstarter. So Rebel Princess is not your average typical princess game. Rebel Princesses don't want to get married. In fact, it's the goal of the game to avoid proposals from eligible princes at a ball that you're at. In this game, you play 5 rounds, each stage trying to play a trick-taking game, avoiding people giving you proposals or taking on the tricks, as it were. So there's different princesses and different princes, but the worst prince is the frog prince because that one turns into the most eligible and gives you 5 proposals all at once. It's nasty. However, you can be the rebel of the ball and take all of the different proposals from everybody, collecting all the princes like Pokemon. And if you do that, you actually get the best score, which is negative 10 points, as you reject all the princes' advances at once with a flick of the wrist. It's pretty cool. This game comes to us from Bezier Games, who made a lot of other games you might recognize, like Suburbia, One Night Ultimate Werewolf, and even Castles of Mad King Ludwig. The deluxe version was actually designed by 4 different designers: Daniel Byrne, Gerardo Guerrero, Kevin Pelaez, Terso Virgos, and it has art by Alfredo Caceres, which adds in 2 extra princesses, 6 round cards, and some upgraded card formats. The deluxe version will retail at around $24.95, but we don't have a price yet for the standard, but you can assume it's probably $5 to $10 less because of the non-deluxe components. And if you're coming to Gen Con this year, which everyone watching this should be, their game is actually going to be released at Gen Con, so you can pick up a copy or even demo it there, hopefully. I know I'll be running a demo if I get a copy of it for sure. What do you guys think? It's sort of like this alternative take on how princesses, or like how Love Letter, thinks about princesses, right?
I think
Oh,
we
I
should
love
cosplay it.
Ooh,
Oh,
that sounds so fun, actually.
that does
I would
sound
look
fun.
amazing in a princess wig. And a crown? Don't get me
And
started.
crown. We could all go. It'll be a special episode of Gen Con. We'll all cosplay as princesses. I love it.
I would do that.
Yeah. There you go, production. You could count on us to be princesses when you need us to be.
Something to consider for the live show for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, this is definitely on my because I believe we talked about it before when it was on Kickstarter. I think Javion, you or either Anita brought it up, and it was awesome. And it less like about $30, give or take taxes. Sounds like a great game to get at Gen Con for a deluxe, you know?
Absolutely. Well, that's all the time we have for this article. We're going to roll right into our next one. Peter, take it away.
All right, this article also brought by Chase Carter at Dicebreaker. In one of the strangest team-ups of the year, the creators of the Blair Witch Project, remember that, have collaborated with the designers behind Illimat, which I assume means Keith Baker, and the Adventure Zone Bureau of Balance board game to create Glim, a new competitive title about fairies and deck building with quite the unique origin story. Glim purportedly started life as an estate sale oddity purchased by the Blair Witch Project's director, Eduardo Sanchez, who sat on the barely held together box with no instructions until it found its way into the hands of Together Studios, Jen Ellis, and Keith Baker. 3 years of research, reconstruction, and design later, and the newly formed Emerald Anvil is preparing to crowdfund a modern version of this Fae card game. Now, Chase puts in parentheses, although I was tempted to leave it out, in case it's not obvious, the backstory is a fanciful fabrication a la Blair Witch's film premise. At its most simplistic, Glim is a competitive deck-building game that uses dice and push-select style rules to drive players toward control of the fairy homeworld of Hada. Each of the 4 players will control a representative of a powerful fairy dominion and do magical battle in either short, single-round skirmishes or more drawn-out conflicts, stretching across several turns. Regardless, a player's path to victory lies in collecting the titular Glim resource and controlling more of the circular cloth board than any other opponent. Most of these rules are either modern creations of Together Studios or the product of 3 years researching stories and other folk games that purport to trace their origins back to the realm of fairies, or at least its influence. A press release ties Glim to Emerald Anvil's wider narrative efforts, which include a folk horror podcast, original novel, and an interactive world-building game powered by NFTs.
Uh-oh.
I like how this article went. NFTs. Uh-oh.
Yeah. What's scarier than the Blair Witch Project? The blockchain. Oh!
Well, I mean, if anything, I mean that feels like so Blair Witch. Like we're gonna try to give you some Is this really horror? Oh yeah, it's got NFT. Is this really horror?
I ain't saying nothing. I had my
Well,
fill of NFTs.
well, Peter, thank you for bringing this board game to our attention. I hope lots of people out there give a stellar review for the Blair Witch Project game.
Well, I'm a big fan of Keith Baker, so if he's touching something, I want to promote it.
Thank you, Peter. Okay, Noir, we got to wrap up our headlines here with some Warhammer news.
All right, I will just deliver the news without going into the nerd lore of all this. Warhammer, new Warhammer 40K Codex, Battle Force, and more in Adeptus Custodes. uh of course, we all know what the Custodes is, so I don't really need to get into it. But Game Workshop will add a full range of products around the Adeptus Custodes, the Emperor's personal bodyguards, including a Codex, Battle Force, and more. Codex Adeptus Custodes is a hardcover volume with extensive background lore, 4 thematic detachments, 18 data sheets, and Crusade content. It will be offered in both regular and collector's editions, which will feature gilded soft touch cover. The Battle Force Auric Champions includes a new shield captain with 2 head options and a powerful Pyrite Spear, along with 5 Wardens, 6 Alaris Terminators, and 6 Virtus Praetors on jet bikes. Combat Patrol Adeptus Custodes is led by a Blade Champion with 5 Custodian Guards, 3 Alaris Terminators, and 3 Wardens. All are included, but only one option can be used in the game of Combat Patrol. So that's the facts. That's the facts without any of the lore about how insanely amazing the Adeptus Custodes are. They can stand still for 100 years and then move so fast they can cut a fly in half. They're so cool. They're so cool. Not as cool as the Grey Knights, but like really cool. Like there's a story of the Sisters of Battle. Oh, I'm not gonna get into it.
Yeah.
One sister
late.
in battle fought one custodian for like 6 hours because she was like, "You guys are not listening to the will of the emperor, even
Cut
though
him
they're
off.
the emperor's bodyguard." Okay, I'll stop.
Cut him off, Javion.
Noir, you know a lot more about this than I do. I'm confused. Where are all the giant armored jumpsuits? Where is the giant gunner mop and bucket? I'm not seeing any custodians on here.
Custodes, like the Roman soldiers back in the day. Like,
Oh,
yeah, but if you want to see giant X suits, I mean, the thing is, what the Terminus armor is, it's like if a soldier's too wounded to do battle, it's basically a life support system surrounded by a tank, which is then surrounded by a mech. So even when they're out of battle, they fight forever for the Emperor.
wow. It actually looks like we have time for one more headline here. So, just like last year, it looks like the American Tabletop Awards have been announced. The winners for early gamers, casual games, strategy games, and complex games have been announced. One thing that I learned actually by doing this article is that there are a bunch of people on the committee for the American Tabletop Awards, including a friend of the show, Ruel. So definitely believe the hype. These games are chosen by the best of the best. Early games category goes to Blob Party. It's a game all about cooperating and a party game about trying to have the same answer with other people who are playing. Casual games goes to Sea Salt and Paper, a game about origami on the high sea. And then the next game on the list, we have strategy games, Thunder Road Vendetta. Now, this one's all about, Mad Max Fury Road, a bunch of post-apocalyptic cars with guns on an infinite road with some custom dice. Sounds awesome. And then finally, we've got the Complex Games Award winner goes to The White Castle. It's a worker and dice placement game about building a castle and tending to your garden, but you've only got 9 moves to make your mark. So congratulations to all of these winners. We can't wait to see how people start playing them in the future and what the winners next year are going to be. But we got to move. Folks, it's time for Crowdfunder Court.
Welcome to Crowdfunder Court. Here come the judges. Prepare to be judged. All rise. Court is now in session.
All right. So, I got something for you. I'm gonna make it real fast here. You ever see your miniatures? And you're like, oh man, I got so many to paint. I don't feel like painting them. Well, I'm bringing you a solution to that. I'm bringing you Doppel, which is bringing your RPG character to life. That's right. Instead of having to paint, like sit over hunching, painting a miniature figure, with this, you can just create them as though they were in a video game and share it with other friends that also have Doppel. It's really dope. I highly recommend. Also, it has sweet sound effects. So when you move, you can have like a battle cry or a roar or the swinging of a sword. Right now, they have a goal of $10,000 and they're at $176,114. So get in on this. They already have 1,107 backers. They can't all be wrong. So definitely check this out, especially if you want to have the coolest thing at the table, but you don't feel like doing the work. Because that's me. That's me in a nutshell. I want to have a colorful figure that makes noises and sounds, but I don't feel like painting. Honestly, though, you can upload your own custom sounds. It's compatible with Bluetooth. There are hundreds of characters, hundreds of customization options. No slip base on the bottom there. Just check this thing out. It's really cool. And it's really neat to see innovation like this on the table. But that's my crowdfunder court. I wait for my verdict, but I assume that my head is safe.
Wow. So it's a mini that's customizable. I
Mhm.
don't have to paint it, and
Nope.
I don't have to worry about accidentally breaking it when I throw it into my bag of other minis.
Well,
Count me in.
I never said that. I'm pretty sure it can break, but you know what? Let's just pretend it can't.
I say you get to keep your head. Well done,
Whew.
Norm. Okay, Bonsai, I'm sorry. These headlines today are so confusing. Is this a role-playing game where I have to do laundry?
Oh, no, 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 no. I know people might be confused about it, but the laundry role-playing game that I'm going to go ahead and share with you from Kickstarter is actually totally different. This is actually the second edition of this kind, or second version of the laundry files. So, you ever wanted to go ahead and play a cosmic horror, tech-driven magic and occult spycraft game? Well, that's what Laundry Files is. The Laundry, you play as a Secret Service government agency that protects the world from paranormal threats. Threats and cosmic horror. The gimmick is that this cosmic horror, though it is largely a product of complex math, like basically math. So instead of being like these super spies that come in that can punch people's faces and do all really cool things like in the Dresden Files, you guys are just people who fight demons with numbers. So like the invention of the computer almost brought world domination by demons. So you're like, imaginary numbers, quantum physics. That's basically, how I've been saying that, like, math is the work of the devil. It actually is in this universe. So this game comes from Cubicle 7. This game will be using the C7D6 system, which is standard, like just a bunch of like D6s, a bunch of your D6s. So if you want to play like Delta Green, but with special forces and more like nerds fighting computer viruses that may summon demons into our reality, then this might be the game for you. It's called Laundry. I believe it's a British book or British show that came in, and you can get the first 4 audiobooks for free on Audible. Just dropping it out there in case anybody's interested. But yeah, there you go.
As a math nerd, I believe I speak for everyone when I say, fine. You don't like us? We don't care. Math isn't for you anyway. You're excluded, Bonsai. No more math for you.
Yay!
That's all we had to do to get out of math?
Oh, you want out too? Fine. You too. No more math for you either,
I'm
Noir.
free!
the math nerds, decree your numberless heathens. You can go stand with the other English majors. Um, Peter, give us our final Kickstarter here, please.
Okay. Okay, so this is a crowdfunder on Kickstarter. It's called Horror on the Orient Express, the board game. Investigate the horrors of Cthulhu mythos aboard the mysterious Orient Express. A long-awaited board game created by Adam Kwapinski and Gashat Gotabliowski is finally here. This game will be published by Chaosium and is being funded on Kickstarter and has raised over $1 million and has 6 days to go. In this cooperative game, you and other investigators try to survive on the doomed train. To win, you must hunt out the cultists to stop them from performing a hideous ritual and ensure the train reaches its destination. Each player controls a character who can develop new skills, gather items, talk to passengers, discover clues, and ultimately decide the train's fate. You may even learn a spell or two. There are 4 stock characters to choose from. The game comes with beautiful occult cards, quest cards, feature cards, incantation cards, miniatures for characters, miniatures for suspects, minis for monsters, minis for coffins, and of course, a train mini. Yes, of course. And there's boards, there's ritual tokens, and 22 passenger dice, and it just looks fun to me. So I'm glad we got a chance to crowbar it into the agenda. Back to you, Javion.
Choo choo. The Kickstarter wait, hold on, what? The Kickstarter conductor has left the station. That's all we have for our headlines today. But don't go anywhere, folks, because we've got our very special interview with Kobold Press's very own Dot coming up right now.
Hi.
Hi, it's Little Red Dot from Kobold Press. How
Hi,
you
friends.
doing, Dot?
I'm good. It's good to see all these faces. It's been a while.
Welcome back. We have so many
Yeah.
questions for you. How have things been over at Kobold Press?
Well, we're working hard in the Warrens. I'm sure I'll get to talk a little bit about that today, but we're busy kobolds, y'all. Our arms and legs are shorter than the average creature, so we have to work twice as hard.
This is so cool. We have so many questions because we know that there have been a lot of stuff going on in the background. Noir in particular was telling us how excited he was to see some of that new stuff you guys got cooking. So what can you
Yeah.
tell us?
Well, I feel like the last time I was over here, we were still in playtest for Tales of the Valiant. In fact, we had just come out of calling it Project Black Flag and kind of giving the book a name.
Yeah.
So we're way past that. It's been like, what, almost a year since I've been over here, and it is in press. Those books are off being hard pressed as we speak, and we took a lot of that playtest feedback that we were taking the last time I was here and really changed the game or altered certain pieces of the game to really be what the audience wanted. We took a lot of direct feedback from the general public and really shaped the game into something. Oh, I can't wait for y'all to see. I can't wait. So yeah.
Now I know having done some of the play tests with Tales of the Valiant, it's so seamless going from other 5e systems to Tales of the Valiant. It's back at that point though, it still felt like Tales was trying to find its own unique voice. I'm
Yes.
kind of curious, like, what developments have you seen that really
Yes.
kind of set Tales apart from other 5e
Well,
iterations?
I think the first and foremost is that with the original SRD, there's still a lot of classes, right, that you
Yeah.
don't get. 1 feat, a thing here. We've filled in all the blank spots.
Yes.
So our public document, which will release the first week of May to the general public, it's called the Black Flag Reference Document, which is our public, open, never going anywhere version of Tales of the Valiant, is going to be out there, and it includes all the classes, we kind of got rid of feats, but all of the extra that you don't get in the base SRD, which actually gives the general public a lot more to write on. So if you're a freelance writer or you're a freelance creator, you can take the BFRD and basically create compatible work to 5th edition or just Tales of the Valiant work on a really mass scale. And that includes our brand new class, the Mechanist, because we know that its similar class, the Artificer, does not belong. It's not in the SRD. So now we have a version called the Mechanist, which to me is better. Not, I guess I'm biased, but it's better because it feels a little bit more. It's not. There's no prep, right? When you're a mechanist, when you're somebody that makes things on the spot, it's really hard to wake up in the morning and go, well, today I'm gonna need a gear and a thing because you're Inspector Gadget, you're MacGyver, you make it up on the spot, and so the class is really built around on the spot building of both spell and physical objects together in one. It's a pretty fantastic class. Maybe my favorite. Don't tell the druid that.
I had no idea how badly I wanted to play Inspector Gadget until now.
When I am telling y'all, like, I am so excited. And so, that's one piece of the public and the new stuff that you're going to get. But the monster vault that goes along with it has over 300 monsters, I believe, which is more than the SRD gives you. Every monster we've gone through, if it didn't have a description, it's got one now. We've redone and reimagined all the art for the monsters. So we've taken a lot of inspiration from the actual locales that monsters are supposed to be in, their drives, their wants, if they're a bit more sentient. And there's this whole new aspect to being able to dive in as a GM into the monsters. So new explanations like, why does this lich need these goons in lackeys? Why do they make sense? We do a lot of answering for the GM of why, because the SRD simply did not. It was like, here's a stat block, have fun. And so we've filled in a lot of the pieces that have given some fresh breath and air, I think, to what we know as 5th edition, without getting too far. As Noir said, it's a familiar thing. And I can promise you now that your 5th edition character sheets and your TOV character sheets can be played at the same table.
Oh,
side by side.
Nice.
Now, let's be real. Kobold's got teeth and claws, so our stuff tends to be a little beefier at level 1, which to me is a big gold star, because we all know we skip to level 3, right?
Yeah,
Because that's where the fun stuff starts. Well, now the fun
Exactly.
stuff starts at level 1.
I was
Starts
just
at
about to be
level
like, it shouldn't.
It shouldn't. But so what we really wanted to do was rethink the leveling system, like when and how you get things. Like, why does this class get something at level 3, but this one doesn't get it till much later, or it doesn't really match a leveling system? So you're seeing a lot more of the character builds kind of match in the way that they level, and you really feel like an adventurer at level 1. You really feel like you can have some impact in the story. And for our GMs, that also means that our monsters are a little tougher. They bite a little bit more.
Ooh.
So
Ooh,
I have a question. What's the magic system like? What's it like to be a wizard?
Ooh, fantastic question. So there's a couple things about the magic system that we've redone. We have rethought what we call the circles, or how magic is categorized. We have 4 core kind of categories of magic, including weird magic, which is going to include your weird magic, WYRD, your voids, and your kind of obscure stuff. And so we've restructured it in that regard, and we have done some. I can't spoil too much, but we've done some very interesting things with the core spells. And we know that Kobold Press loves a good spell book. So we've also added some original stuff to the mix, which is also going to be part of our public document. As for our I'll say our spellcasters in total, I think one of the things that is really brilliant about Tales of the Valiant is it's finally developed a way for all of our magic users to feel distinctive. Right? Because sometimes you get a lot of magic users at a table and everybody's using the same spells, and there's a lot of overcross and nobody really feels special. And so something that we really wanted to do was look at how can we make sure that the wizard feels really special and distinctive from, say, our sorcerer or our warlock or other magic users. And then we even took some of our babies like Ranger, who we all desperately needed an update, needed some love. Everybody's like, well, the Ranger, he's not really this, he's not really this. So we really dove into some of these classes that needed kind of a refresh thing to make them unique. Now the Ranger is awesome. You don't have a favorite terrain. All terrain is favored because you're a Ranger.
Yes.
Right? So these are the things, these are the hard band-aids that Kobold ripped off and said, we know you love your 5th edition, but we've been making 5th edition content for over 10 years now. And so Kobold really knew the changes we wanted to make, where the struggle points were, all the feedback we've received from the community over a decade. And we took those things and really put them on paper in a way that I think it's going to just really elevate both your 5th edition play or just your Tales of the Valiant play.
Mm.
All right, Dad. I got. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, no. I was gonna say, well, now that you're talking about all the various different classes, what about those who channel their deities' powers? Just saying, maybe clerics. Do they still have some things that maybe was
do? They have some disagreeable things. So kobolds and paladins will look familiar. Again, we've not wiped the board clean with any class, but because of the way that we're dealing with heritage and lineage, we have gotten rid of race. And heritage and lineage is the beginning of how you build a character. This is one of those unique ways that you give that flavor, because what happens if you have 2 clerics at the table? It's bound to happen. It's happened to all of us. We've had 2 rangers or 2 druids. So when we start at this heritage lineage, which is to look at what is your blood and who raised you, right? So
Yeah.
who were you born to, but who actually raised you? So you might be born a dwarf, but raised by elves.
Yeah.
And so when you start dealing with things like our clerics and our paladins, these really give a lot of flavor to why you've chosen the path that you've chosen, and makes it so that maybe there are 2 paladins at the table, but because of the way they were raised or the community in which they grew up in, 2 dwarf clerics are going to look very, very different.
Ooh, exciting.
I've got a question to check in on you with here, which is, Kobold Press has been making 5th edition content for a very long time, and something happened last month that I never thought would happen, which is there's a Kobold Press book on D&D Beyond.
There is.
Is this something that is especially with Tales of the Valiant coming out, is this something that we can expect more of? Will Tales of the Valiant also be following this trend, or is this strictly just...
That's a good question. So what I can tell you is that Tales of the Valiant is our new platform. It will never make it to D&D Beyond.
Okay.
But from the beginning of January 2023, one of our big goals with both the launch of Tales of the Valiant and just the movement that we made was to assure that even our back catalog, all those beautiful 5th edition books you've bought from them, from us, do not become obsolete. So for us, it became really important of not letting those books get dusty. So we had already put out a remastered version of Tome of Beast 1, which is our #1 monster book. We have 4, but Tome of Beast 1 is the book. Everybody, if you're going to pick one up, pick that one up. And we had actually been talking with Wizards for quite a while regarding this contract, even before the beginning of 2023. And so it had been kind of on the back burner. And we made a decision as a company that book is 5th edition. It's completely compatible with the system that they use. And so there was nothing keeping us from offering that to a larger community. So in our eyes, adding something like our 5th edition monster book to D&D Beyond just assures that more people have more access to our books, and those things don't become obsolete and fall away in an archive, because D&D Beyond is now just part of our large list of VTT platforms where you can get these things. So we will have a much more limited selection coming out to D&D Beyond. They have selected what they want. And I can tell you this is the start.
I was very excited about that, because I remember like I have an Oath of the Storm Paladin, and it's like I recreated it for it, and I was just like, curses.
No, I want it. Yeah. So we've got we've made some wheeling and dealing behind closed doors, and I'll be honest, it was the best kept secret of Kobold Press of this year. I think everybody was a little shocked, but I think it's one of those things when Kobold Press, when we look at the community, we look at our place in it, we talk about a tabletop community. We weren't really interested in the ostracizing. We were interested in what does growth look like for our little Kobold company, Tales of the Valiant, and what does it look like to continue to build a strong foundation for tabletop. And some people just aren't going to move to the new system, but why deny them the chance to play our monsters on D&D Beyond?
Okay, so Dot, I run a Scarlet Citadel campaign every 2 weeks or so.
Do your players hate you yet?
No, they love it. They're having a great time. Well, sometimes. Okay. Anyway, there's a town in the module called Red Tower, and I love it, but it's pretty complex even for that little town that it is. So I paired the campaign builder, cities and towns with it, and that
Yes.
just made it opened up the whole world for me because it's basically just like a big history lesson on how
Yes.
towns work in a little PDF. And I love it. I learned so much from it. And I found out that the campaign builder for Dungeons and Ruins is coming out soon.
It
And
is.
honestly, I have no idea what this is going to be like. So what can you tell us?
So what I can tell you about our campaign builder series, because it is an official series of Kobold Press, I would say that that will be the ongoing non-Tales of the Valiant. All of our campaign builder series are compatible with 5th edition Tales of the Valiant, as well as kind of any other fantasy game that you're playing. It's really like a it's really just a source book. It's a toolkit, as you so beautifully said. So we
Yeah.
actually have 2 campaign builders currently out and available. One, one of them just closed. So we have campaign builder Cities and Towns, self-explanatory. We've got campaign builder Castles and Crowns, so all about kingdoms. And then we are launching Dungeons and Ruins to Kickstarter next week. And Dungeons and Ruins will be just what it sounds like. It's a deep dive into how to build better dungeons. We've got ready-made brand new traps that you've probably never seen before. We've rethought some of the hard stuff about that dungeon crawl, and we're going to be diving a little bit into some of what some folks might consider old school. I don't want to call it old school because then I'm dating myself. Hex crawls, right, are part of this. We talk a little bit about the hex crawl. We have actually created, every one of the campaign builders gets its own unique sheet. So we have a castles sheet, right, a kingdom sheet for Castles and Crowns. We are going to get a dungeon sheet. That means you, as a GM, can design a dungeon on a single dungeon sheet, and your dungeons are ready to go. You could 3 or 4 of them back to back to back. And so it really will be that perfect toolkit, that perfect guide to upping the dungeon crawl. We're going into ruined cities. So for those of you that like to play in
Ooh.
apocalyptic settings, we consider Dungeons and Ruins. Ruined cities are just a part of that. So you've got a lot of juicy stuff coming out of the Dungeons and Ruins Kickstarter. I can't tell you too much because it's not launched until next Tuesday. Next Tuesday we launch, everybody. But if you want to know more, we are having an AMA in our Discord on Monday to get all your questions answered before that Kickstarter launches.
Well, I
Oh,
really
very
hope
good.
it has a ton of extra content about not just building a dungeon, but also how to like run one as
How to
well.
run
'Cause
it, what to put in it, what makes
Mm.
sense in a dungeon. Like, just going from room to room is not interesting. How do you up the stakes? How do you build a really great trap or puzzle? These are the things that sometimes we struggle with. So I can say we'll be doing something new this year for Kobold Press. And if you're interested in Tales of the Valiant, if you're interested in more of our product, we have announced our first online convention. Kobold Con is coming May 10th through the 12th.
Ooh.
No badges, no lines, all kobolds, y'all. So it'll be all online. We've got a big organized play coming, and it will be the first time anybody can play Tales of the Valiant. We are launching Tales of the Valiant digitally the weekend of May 10th through the 12th. On May 10th, we've got a big showcase video coming. We're going to be doing something new and announcing all of our upcoming product in advance for the rest of 2024. So we're giving you a
Wow.
big curtain pullback. Kobold's never done that before. We tend to get nervous when we announce things early. We're pulling back the curtain. We're telling you what's coming. We're showing you our new product, talking about our new partnerships, who's doing what, where they're doing it, the works. And so yeah, we're very, very excited. It'll be a chance. There'll be a lot of org play. And if you are interested in learning more, you can head over to koboldpress.com / KoboldCon 2024. And that will lead you and give you all the details. We've got our schedule up, org play, live streaming, interviews, you name it. And what I'm actually most excited about is all sales made that weekend, a percentage of them are going back to a brand new scholarship that Kobold Press is starting for a game design student in tabletop and board game design. So we're partnering with the University of Southern California, and every year we'll be giving a community funded scholarship to a game design student of the future.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Scott,
Woo!
thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on our stream today. We had such a lovely time. We learned so much cool stuff. We hope that you stick around for the rest of the stream, and we also hope to see you on our couch at Gen Con this
Yes,
year.
I'll be there. Oh, Gen Con. First place you'll be able to buy TOV books in person.
Oh, you heard that.
You
Gen
gonna
Con
bury
is-
the lead?
Yeah, I totally forgot about. I know I'm here to make Peter sweat. You will be able to pick up TOV that includes the Player's Guide and the Monster Vault at our booth for the very first time at Gen Con.
Exciting. I can't wait. Thank you so much, Dot. Okay,
Thank you.
Peter. Thank you for coming in, Dot. Peter, why don't you take us out?
All right. Yes, Dot, please stick around so we chat a little bit after this
Yeah.
show. Yes, this concludes another Kobold loving episode of Table Takes. But don't go far. In just a couple hours, we have Sarah's table. Sarah assumes her final form, an intergalactic bounty hunter in Notorious. It turns out she's not terribly good at it, but she feels really cool. And that's what matters. That's today at 5 p.m. Pacific time. Watch me play Sid Meier's Civilization 6 as England Monday on Peter versus the Machine at 9 a.m. Pacific. Things continue to spiral for Indianapolis as things begin to take an interesting turn in Indy by Night, 7 p.m. Pacific on Tuesday. On Wednesday, we will have our miniatures painting show with Path of the Brush at 4 p.m. Pacific. At 6 p.m. Pacific on Wednesday, we will have Actor Roki, and I will be DMing Burning Saratov with players Marcus Mays, the God King Marcus, as he's called locally, and Ray, Wednesday at 6 p.m. Pacific time. Tuesday morning at 10 a.m., we have Blood on the Clock Tower. They join us again at 5 p.m. for some Shadowrun with Roll with Rim Alternus. Then Friday at 2 p.m., we're back here with Table Takes. Thank you so much to the Gen Con TV crew, Marcus Mays, Steve Cottard, Sarah Moore, and Tanel Lovett. Thanks to my delightful co-hosts, Javion, Bonsai Baby, and the Noir Enigma. And thanks very much to our special guest, Dot, from Kobold Press. But thanks most of all to you for hanging out with us in chat. And remember, follow Gen Con TV for more of the best 4 days in gaming all year long, right here on twitch.tv/GenConTV. And by follow, I mean, please click the follow button. Thank you. Goodbye.